Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh Polly, it's for your sake alone. I left my dear old father, my country and my home. I left my dear old mother to weep and to mourn. I am a rebel soldier and far from my home. It's grape shot and musket and the cannon lumber loud. There's many a mangled body, the blanket for their shroud. There's many a mangled body left on the fields alone. I am a rebel soldier and far from my home.
Hi, James White from Critical Disclosure Radio, brought to you by Northwest Liberty News. Thanks so much for joining me today here in the broadcast. We have once again, sadly, 2 more parents on the line with us today that have been victimized by the system, and it's horrific. This case is horrific. We always, of course, on this broadcast, we want to give parents the opportunity to come here and tell their story. This is very timely. I think there's certainly some time-sensitive issues that need to be dealt with here in this particular case. That's why I want to have them on here right away, and we're delighted. Yeah, I guess you could say delighted to have Michael and Joi Montrief on the show with us, and we're going to bring them on now. Let me unmute their microphone. Michael and Joi, hold on here. There we go. Yep, Michael and Joi Montrief, thanks so much for joining us here on Critical Disclosure.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's it's over, and I've done so many hundreds of interviews and talked to hundreds more parents, and I've got just a voluminous amount of information on what goes on. And once again, we have 2 more victims on the broadcast with us today that have been victimized by the system. And this particular case here is just, from what I'm reading over it, I didn't have a chance to do the deep dive, but what I did look at, I mean, it's just I don't understand how people can allow this stuff to happen and seemingly assist these people that are supposed to be the ones that protect liberty and protect law. These are the ones that are sometimes participate in this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn it over to you, and either Michael or Joi, either one. First of all, thanks again for being here on the show, and it takes a lot of courage to come on and tell your story. I know it does. Many people have wanted to come on and they just couldn't do it when it came down to it, and that's okay. I understand. But you're moving forward and bringing your story out, and I do appreciate that. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Start from the beginning. Basically, the way I'd like to kick it off is it was a bright sunny day and everything was going okay, and then this happened, and then it started from there. So I'll just turn it over to you and let us know your story.
Thank you, Jim, for having us.
Let's start with Athena refusing to go back to her mom.
Well, after years of my daughter presenting with 2 of my daughters presenting with signs of sexual abuse or some sort of abuse, we documented it, and it turned out that my eldest, Athena, would refuse to return to her mother's rather vociferously, and so we tried to accommodate both the court orders and
the school was forcing her physically to return to her mother. They forced her on
Let's
us.
stop for 1 second. Sorry. I just want to just say here. So you're Joi. You're not Athena's mother. So Michael, right. you and Athena's mother are estranged. You live in separate locations. So what you're saying is, you have a joint custody, and the custody to go back to the mother part was to kick in, because she probably comes to your place for a period of time, and to the mother's, she didn't want to go back to her mother's, and that's when you kind of suspected at that point there may be some abuse, or that kind of raised some red flags for you. I just want to make sure that we got it clear that Joi, you're not Athena's mother, and that you guys are separated. That's all. I just want to clear that up. So please continue.
Thank you so much. Please.
And then So yeah, this was like the beginning of 2019. We had all four girls every other day, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Athena had an incident with her grandmother's live-in boyfriend. He dragged her to throw something away by her ears. I was doing all the exchanges at the Laguna Beach police station, and Athena ran up to me bawling. I took her in for a police report. They just took like a informational report, and because she had no marks on her ears, that's when she started refusing to return. The officers did not force her, as they're not supposed to,
But the school was.
But the judge ordered that we had to bring her to school when we had her. So.
And her mom would, and on the days she would go home with her mother from school, she would refuse to return.
Right.
She would refuse to go to school. So we had dealt with a battery of psychosomatic symptoms, and
ranging from excruciatingly painful stomach aches where we had to take her to the ER, blood in her stool, throwing up. She was experiencing all this anxiety and trauma from not wanting to return to her mother's house.
She didn't have these same symptoms when there was harmony, for example. She didn't have these same symptoms. She was a relatively healthy child while you and your ex-wife were together.
She was my ex-girlfriend. And when the girls did visit with me, they were fine. They were largely fine. My daughter for years would present with signs of self-mutilation and chewing on her like in her mom's residence. She would chew on her fingers and her hands,
chew her nails completely off, like fingernails.
And when and picking herself, she had scabs all over at the time. And when she was staying with us, it all cleared up because she wasn't under whatever stress was inducing her aberrant behaviors at her mom's residence. Self-destructive aberrant behaviors.
So this male that was at the location that she didn't want to go back to, does he have any history of any type of abuse, or does he have any history of mistreating children? You say it's someone's boyfriend? Is your aunt's boyfriend? Is that what it is?
My ex's brother.
No, talking about Tim.
Oh, Tim. Well, Tim is grandma's live-in boyfriend.
Right.
And it's my estimation that Athena was triggered when her ears got pulled because her ears had been previously pulled by the uncle when he was forcing her to perform sex acts.
Good Lord. And how old? Yeah. How old? 8? Lost your audio. We lost your audio. Can't hear you. I lost your audio.
You got it.
There we go. I heard you a little bit there.
Okay, great. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. At what age? At what age did this monster start abusing Athena? What age was she?
4 to 5 years old. 4 to 5.
4 to 5 years old. Was this reported to the cops? Is this guy still breathing air? Is this guy still breathing free air? This guy?
Yes. Yes. In fact, when the police interrogated him, or didn't even that's a generous euphemism. The police never interrogated him. They gave notice. They returned Athena to the residence in which she was abused before they interviewed the suspect. And when the suspect was interviewed, he was given notice of the interview. He had an opportunity to wipe his phone, and it was a short interview at his workplace by a local police department who didn't take it seriously and didn't. There was a battery of tests they could have performed on the alleged perpetrator, and they largely dismissed the claims. Athena has a tendency to embellish at times, and it's a traumatic memory. It's a memory that may be remote in time, still having dramatic emotional effect in this moment, especially it's exacerbated by becoming a teenager and the hormones associated therewith. And it's becoming the trauma is being continually exacerbated by mom's desire to pretend it never happened.
Well, we've got a video here a couple of videos that you sent over here, and I just wanted to. It appears to me that the videos are going to substantiate your claims that she did not really want to go back to her mother's house here. Let me turn off this this thing that's making the noise here. Let's play this video here, and I believe this will bring up the video. Okay, so that's not the video. There's the video right here.
Dad, why? Why? Please, no. Stop, Alan!
Sir, can you not film me, please?
Please.
Dina, are you going to walk, please?
Please, I just want to be with
If you could
Dad.
do me a favor and just not film this? She's asking you not to.
Yes.
Why?
I said yes.
Please,
You're
Dad.
going to walk?
Please, Dad, no. I just want to say goodbye.
You go outside.
I just want to say goodbye.
We'll get a chance to do that next time, okay?
That sounds to me like a child that wants to be with her dad. If I had to
Right.
guess, I didn't have to guess.
Doesn't get any easier.
No, there's one more. We'll play the next one. And this is just, I'm speechless sometimes with these things, and it's here it is. Look at the next video.
Athena, if your mother's here, I'm going to have to take you back.
No, please, no. Please, I hate them so much. And Mom deserves the chance to just punish me in front of Mom.
Can you please keep it down?
Sit down. Okay, everybody play dead.
Athena, what have you been telling me for the last 15 or 20 minutes?
That I never want to see them again.
Stop the noises, please.
That I never, ever, ever want to see them again. For the horrible things they have done. It's horrible. It's horrible. They both.
Okay, I think we've probably seen enough of that. I think it's pretty convincing that she does not want to does not want to go because of the horrible things that have been done to her. Does anyone listen when she says this? Probably. Here's the thing.
No.
Sadly, and we've seen it so many times. There's a ring involved. There's a kidnapping ring, or there's so much money involved, and everybody's getting their palms greased and getting a nice thick envelope full of cash, and even the sheriff sometimes, and the police, and the principals, and the teachers, and the hospitals, and the doctors and nurses, and
Right.
that's the situation that we have here. Sadly, not here in your specific situation, but that happens. That's the sad part of it. I mean, now what are you facing now? Are you facing actually losing? You have four. Is there four? Is there four girls that are gone right now that are not with you?
Technically 6. Yeah.
Well, my wife's children have been affected through her relationship with her ex, and the subterfuge offered by my ex as ad hominem attacks to cover up the abuse of the abuse of my daughter by her family member. I was very hopeful, even amongst what was clearly fraud. The psychologist appointed by the judge has a perjury conviction, recent perjury conviction. She's an older lady. They don't give older folks perjury convictions because they made an innocent mistake. She's had other complaints against her with the Department of Psychology here in the state of California. She solicited Joi and me for bribes, and changed her opinion at the last minute before she submitted her report.
Whoa. Are you telling me that she wanted you to pay her off to make a right decision, and you decided not to? She solicited you for bribes, and when you didn't come clean with the shakedown, then she reversed her decision and went against you to show you that you better pay up if you want your children. I mean, is that kind of what you're telling me?
Correct.
Yeah, not so many words, but yes.
And most importantly, the thing that really smacks of it not being an independent actor, exclusive of some sort of organized misanthropy, would be that the psychologist my attorney at the time told me that the judge refused to call wouldn't allow me to call the psychologist to the stand. So even though she had a perjury conviction, even though she changed her opinion at the last minute, even though she solicited me for bribes, the judge refused to let me call a witness adverse to Athena's interests to the stand to be cross-examined. It's a fundamental right, constitutional right, abrogated.
Have you ever had full due process? Have you ever had a chance to go in front of a jury of your peers, to present your evidence to a jury of your peers, to call in witnesses, character witnesses, and your defense? Have you ever had a chance to do that?
I did have my sister testify at the hearing. She did. I think that my dad submitted a declaration, or he testified. I submitted a declaration. And Joi would have testified, but she was having a medical operation because that was induced in no small part because of the unnecessary amplification of stress from these folks at the Lamoureux Family Law Courts here in Orange County, California. And the judge, Gary Moorhead, refused to delay the proceedings so Joi could testify, even though she was dutifully and thoroughly involved in the lives of the children for years, 5 years.
Again, once again, did you ever have an opportunity to go in front of a jury of your peers, present your evidence, have character witnesses called in, and given their testimony to that same jury to testify for your character? Did you guys have any of that? No. Which is your constitutional right. Anytime your life, liberty, or property is taken, you are afforded due process. This is what our founding fathers put in our founding documents. This is not me, goofy radio show host, saying this. This is what our founding fathers said. So if you weren't given that, if you weren't given proper due process, then it's a sham. It's not constitutional. It's fraudulent. And the courts these are not constitutional courts. I'm surprised, and I don't know, I haven't talked to you about it, but did you ever get you're not bringing the Constitution into here? Did you ever get that one yet? Have you heard that one? Because I get that one all the time. You're not going to bring the Constitution into my court. That's family court. That's the type of stuff that gets said. Do you get any of that stuff?
I want to say yes, but
it's anytime there's a lack of transparency, you're going to have venality. It's the reason that our republic was intended to be transparent, because we get fraud with transparency. Without it, it's a gold-plated invitation. Mom took this extraordinary dispensation from this judge that was in no doubt. It isn't a question of if people got paid off, but how many, I would imagine. And just judging from the responses and reactions we've received from people, it's exclusive of the consideration that people are compromised. That behavior makes no sense whatsoever. We've been treated with. So Mom last summer took Athena off and dropped her off at a hospital, and they couldn't get a hold of Mom. Tried to turn her over to the hospital was trying to turn her over to foster care because they couldn't get a hold of Mom. When Grandma found out about Mom trying to turn her over to foster care, she swooped in, and they somehow overcame written direction from the state of Texas, instructing Athena's return to this jurisdiction here in California. And instead, they surrendered Athena over to her 8th hospitalization. Right. After 7 suicide attempts in her mom's 7 documented suicide attempts exclusively in her mom's care. And as soon as the hospital was going to have me over to speak with her, Mom came in and grabbed Athena, and has not given her the attention she.
Did you ever get a chance to take her in for any type of a sexual assault examination or anything while she was there that you could test to see if, because it doesn't matter, right? If she's underage, there is no consent. No child can consent. Anybody that's under it's not even a lawful It's not even a lawful avenue. It's like doesn't exist. They can't consent if you're underage. So, I mean, if there's any type of abuse or anything that went on at all, I mean, there's criminal, there's crimes that's been committed. Has she been tested for that at all?
Yeah, at her second hospitalization for suicidal ideations, not wanting to be with her mom, she told Michael's dad, her grandfather, that she was molested by Max. And
you have to let me know who Max is.
What was that?
Max. I haven't heard that name before. Who's Max?
Her uncle.
Oh, I thought, okay, Max. Okay, Max. Okay, there's another person named Steven, I think you mentioned, or something, but no, maybe I'm anyway, Max. Okay, so
what's the live-in boyfriend's name, Joy?
The grandfather's the grandmother's live-in boyfriend is Tim.
Yeah, Tim.
Tim. Okay, Tim and Max. Okay, very good.
So she told her grandfather the next day. She told her aunt, Michael's sister, while she was hospitalized. She never told us, and the police did an investigation and interviewed her, and they determined that it wasn't. They couldn't find anything after they interviewed Max.
I want to get to your question, please, Jim, but I think that the social services agency, because Athena has been so traumatized by the experiences, Athena needs very tender, loving care, and it's going to take longer than an hour-long interview or 45 minutes or whatever the heck it was, where she wasn't even listened to. She was asking to live with me or to be placed in foster care rather than go back to her mom's house, and she may still be making those requests. Regardless, over the years, I have vigorously tried to get her seen when she was presenting with these symptoms of abuse. Every time I tried to take her for therapy, her grandma spent more than $500,000 in legal fees alone, filing ex parte motions, going into court every time I tried to take Athena in for therapy, saying that it was unnecessary. I didn't have the right to do it, and she was going to. They tried to strip me of all visitation and custody. Strip the girls of all visitation and custody numerous times. I can't even count. It's a double-digit number of times.
You said that she tried suicide she's attempted suicide 8 times, and the grandmother says there's no reason for her to go to therapy. I mean, is this not like? I mean, is this like Bizarro World? Does anybody else know that she tried to commit suicide 8 times? I mean, this has got to be registered, some sort of her medical record somewhere.
It is.
And then her grandmother says she doesn't need help. I mean, children that try to commit suicide, they need a lot of help. They're crying out for help. That's what it is. That's what they're doing. They want help because they're being harmed or abused or battered or something. I mean, these people sound pretty evil to me. This is in California. This is you say Laguna Beach.
Laguna Beach, yeah.
Beach.
What county is that? Is that Orange County?
Yes, sir.
Orange County. Please continue.
So they finally, when they finally assented to therapy, to getting Athena into therapy, after years of trying, mom has sat in on every therapy appointment she's ever had. Athena's terrified of speaking about her abuse. She'll only acknowledge that it happened.
She gets punished.
They would lock her up. I call it a closet. Joy calls it a bedroom. It has no bathroom. It has no insulation. It has no heat or cooling. And it's on the street where it's loud. So regardless, she'd be locked up in there all night, hours on end. I told one person about it who made a call and it, trying to take, Athena's wanted to stay with me from day one. She was been asking for more time with me since she was 5 years old, and nobody will listen. And I was made out to be the bad guy, and that's got to stop now. I mean, this is just too much by any calculus.
Instead of acknowledging her abuse, they're totally denying it and calling her a liar and making her get on medications because they think she's crazy.
And they're
trying to prove that she's crazy.
Well, and one of the problems here is that mom, who is a nurse of some of some licensure, I'm not sure. And she mixes, according to records, she mixes antipsychotics. It mixes and switches antipsychotics with antidepressants. Psychotropics, which is just going to make my daughter more labile. She's got ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, whatever disorder. And she definitely needs, tender loving care and attention, but not this kind of pharmacopoeia, as it were.
Right.
Very familiar with that. Okay, so I've got some images here. Let me go to these documents. Okay, so do you want to go through and set these up and let us know what we're looking at here? This is
this that got sent to the GoFundMe. That this message here is from what we've gathered is from Mom's aunt, and Mom's aunt, I believe that's what this is. Yeah. Is it?
Looks like it.
Not really sure. It's from Shapola. What is it?
No, this is it. I got it. So yes, Mom's aunt sent a message over last Friday, and therein she doesn't dispute the Athena's child sex abuse allegations. Interestingly, she makes her. They're all ad hominem attacks, but regardless, the first thing she says is, "Show me the money." She writes in there that they want money. Certainly, if somebody were making a false allegation of sex abuse against a family member, and you were reaching out, the first thing you probably address the elephant in the room. More importantly, you probably wouldn't make the focus on money. I've had other communications in recent months that substantiate that these folks would, let Athena go if they got a 6-figure remittance out of me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? So you've got what was it? The social worker or the one of the workers that wants you to pay her off to get you a good report, and then you've got what is it? Who is it?
The convicted perjurer psychologist.
The psychologist wants a payoff, and now this woman wants a payoff, and people say, "It's not about the money." Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's all about the money.
Of course it is.
If I could fly in there with a...
Yes. Well, these people are going to get their just desserts at one point, not this life or the next, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so we've got this next one here. Let's check this out. We've got this. What am I looking at here? This is a physical exam. Can you see it? Can you see what? Can you see it on your? You can see it on your screen, can't you?
Yeah.
This is Athena's medical exam where Mom took Athena in more than a year after the abuse is alleged to, or approximately a year after the abuse is alleged to have started, and Athena told her mom and her grandmother about this abuse. That Mom took Athena in for this child sex abuse exam. In this document, Mom accuses me of inappropriately touching Athena and never mentions the fact that Athena told her about her Mom's brother, Athena's uncle, abusing Athena.
Protecting him, obviously. She's
right.
Protecting her brother.
Told us? She told somebody. Oh, in her report, she said that she told her mom. She didn't believe her, told her she was lying and punished her. She said she told her grandma and her grandma's boyfriend that Max molested her, and they didn't believe her and they punished her. So she's saying they knew, and the mom says that she didn't know.
But these folks have gone through such. The mom's family has spent so much money, and they've gone through such an effort. First, they tried to blame one of my family members. Then they blamed me. Then they said I was blaming other folks. This uncle never came up. It's just too much smoke. It's not a question of if Athena's abused. It's a question of how abused is she.
Lord. Okay, so this looks like another part of that physical examination. It says hymen intact, no visible trauma. So that is good news.
Yeah, yeah. Athena alleges that her brother, or excuse me, her uncle, mom's brother, forced Athena to orally copulate him, and
After showing her pornography.
after showing her pornography, and he's threatened my life before, because I told him he shouldn't be dealing drugs years ago. That's the last time I ever talked to him. And then he threatened Athena's life if she ever said anything. So
I got to give you credit, brother. You're a much calmer guy than I am. You're a much calmer fellow than me. I'd be the one behind bars right now if that's the case. Believe me. Believe me.
I just want to pick my daughter. I don't know that, a wise man once said, he who seeks revenge should dig 2 graves.
Indeed. I'm not looking for revenge. I'm looking for justice. There's a big difference. There's a big difference.
Justice is my daughter. Emotional, psychic, physical liberty.
Okay, so this looks like this is the Santiago Pediatrics ward here. Can you explain what this one is?
That's the same. That's the 3rd page of it, and that
Okay.
should be at the bottom where she accused.
I believe on the 3rd page that you previously brought up, that's where it reads that I may have been mom alleged to the pediatrician, who subsequently quit, that I may have inappropriately touched Athena and couched it in perhaps it was bathroom time, but it was it's all too much smoke.
Okay, we looked at that one already. Yeah, there's
The videos don't lie.
yeah, you're right, exactly. Children don't, and I mean this poor child, and she's at that age to go through that kind of trauma. I mean, she's going to be affected for her entire life if that she gets some. She's going to need some. Yeah, she's going to need some intensive. She's going to need some intensive therapy, and she's going to have to work some of this stuff out, or she's just going to become a toxic adult. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, it just, how that goes, man. I mean, it's just.
Right.
You can't like this. People have rights. Even little people, they have rights.
Of course they do.
God lives in each and every one of us. He's not going around saying the gardener's better than the president or vice versa.
No respecter of persons. From my Bible says no respecter of persons, as far as I know. What can people do to help you guys? I see you have the GoFundMe account there. GoFundMe # Liberate Athena. That's the pound sign, the ampersand, I think it's called. Liberate Athena. Can you tell me is that just for your attorney costs, your court costs? Is that travel costs? Is that, I imagine if you're like most parents, they're trying to run you through the ringer and suck as much funds out of you as possible, with classes and drug tests. And I mean, you probably went through a litany of those already, I'm sure. What are you looking for? Is you just looking to get money for an attorney? Do you have you said before, you mentioned before something that made me believe that you were going pro bono, that you were not pro bono, but you were going solo. I can't remember the name. The names escape. What's that?
Pro per. Yeah,
right.
pro per.
Pro se. Pro. Yeah. So you were doing that. You were representing yourself, basically, right?
In this particular matter, I have not been allowed to represent myself. The judge said he was going to do it. Judge Gary Moore had said he was going to allow me to go pro per, and then decided he wouldn't. I wanted to because I thought I could prevail upon the folks over at Social Services in some cogent manner to unwind this obvious injustice perpetrated upon Athena. Yeah, I mean, I really am just one day at a time here. I'm not trying to monetize this experience. I'm trying to get Athena freedom. Any funds that come in will be applied towards that end, whether it's legal, whether it's I think I got travel covered, but the legal bills are just staggering. These people go through $5,000 like it's water. You give $5,000 to an attorney and they act like you took them out to lunch.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, that's it. And they want you to leave the tip too on top of it.
Yeah.
So
and thanks for the privilege of being here. Appreciate it so much. Like, oh my goodness, yeah.
You know what it's called,
It's
don't
not-
you? You know what it's called, don't you? A racket. That's what it's called. It's a
Yep.
racket. It's a club. It's a club. It's called the bar, and we're not in it. So if you're not in it, you're not a club member. You don't get the club benefits. So I mean, that's just how it is, folks. That's just the way life works. I mean, I wish I was wrong, but I'm not. Anything you wish to say here, Michael and Joi, before we wind down the interviews, or something? Anything that you wanted to say? Anything that you didn't get a chance to get out? Anything you want to get across to folks? Anything like that? Before we let you go, you have time now. Take as much time you need. You can say anything you'd like.
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
I would just say, please visit hashtag Liberate Athena or hashtag Save Athena on Facebook. Therein, you'll see posts with these videos and other documents.
Petitions to sign.
And a petition we have to sign. And in those forms, you'll also find emails for the various folks in government who have touched this case. And I would appreciate any messages, phone calls that can be sent to these folks, prevailing upon them to listen to Athena and deliver her back into the safety of our home.
Well, I can't tell you how troubling it is to come to the end of another tragic tale from two parents that just want their children back. I will put this out far and wide as much as we can. Have people share it around. You know, you're in really I mean, California, is not the most friendly place for people. They seem to punish people there a lot. It's corrupt. It's just rampant corruption all throughout the country, not just California. These corrupt scumbags are everywhere. We appreciate you both coming on the show. GoFundMe, hashtag Liberate Athena. GoFundMe, hashtag Liberate Athena. Do you have an email address or anything that you'd like to give out that people want to send you well wishes or prayers or encouraging words or uplifting words, something like that?
Let's get.
Yeah, you can send them to my Joi, Joi Montrief, MONTRIEF @hotmail.com.
Joi Montrief @hotmail.com. That's Joi Montrief
With an I.
With an I at Hotmail. All right, Joi, Joi. Right, correct. For those people that are listening on the radio only, it's JOIMONTRIEF @hotmail.com. Michael and Joi Montrief, sorry about your tragic tale. We appreciate you being here on the show today. We're glad we had the opportunity to have you on, and keep us updated and let us know what goes on. You have a trial coming up here pretty soon. Not a trial, but you have a hearing coming up here pretty soon. When is it coming up? How
Friday.
When is it?
They're all over.
Friday.
Well, Joy's got one. I know that there's one on December 1st.
You have something on Friday.
Oh, I'm not aware.
This Friday the 13th.
Yeah, what is it? Manson comes out of the woodwork on the 13th, or what is Freddy Krueger? Who's the guy?
Yeah, it's Jason.
I don't know.
It's Jason.
Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To these children, all these social workers look like Jason, pretty much, or they end up looking like Jason before it's all done. It's pathetic. All right, Michael and Joi, appreciate you being here on the broadcast with us today. As I said, keep us informed, and sorry about your tragic tale. We'll pray that you get your children back again and everybody's reunited. Thanks so much for being here with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Be well, Jim.
You're welcome. Okay, folks. It's a tragic case here. There goes Michael and Joi Montrief. I don't know what else to say. You see it. It's going on here right now in California again. It's going on across the country. It's going on in every state. It's going on here in Montana. It's going on in Iowa. It's going on in Texas. It's going on in Louisiana. It's going on in Idaho. It's going on in Massachusetts. Going on in California, Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. You have these same types of criminal scumbags running things. It's only going to continue to go on as long as we allow it to, folks. So I'm encouraging you, to reach out to people like this that have been victimized by CPS, DPHHS, HHS, whatever they call them in your area. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about CPS, the people that kidnap kids. Thanks, folks, for looking in here. Appreciate your support. Till next time, James White from Critical Disclosure Radio, saying bye now.